Syndicated presents Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian.
What is up? Glad you can join us. He's Shep. I'm Sean. Shep, before we start firing offensive coordinators, cutting many players on this team, wondering how...
Revamping the front office.
Yeah, well, that's a given. And, you know, this era is over. It's over. Yeah. We had a good run, dude. We really did. We had a good run, but it's all over.
Yeah, it was fun, Sean. I mean, look, it's sweet. There's a broom. You can use a broom for a sweep in a series. You can also use a broom to sweep everybody out. Yeah. I'm sure Sheila Ford Hemp is going to do that. The losing to J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings is just not acceptable. It's not like they lost to Carolina. Oops. It's not like they lost, to Cleveland. Come on. The overreaction is pretty unbelievable. It's amazing to me. But we should be kind of used to it to a certain extent. Maybe it's kind of a good thing because it shows you how, to a certain extent, spoiled we've been over the last couple of years. But look, you and I both know, and you talked about it this morning, did a really good job with it.
Thank you.
I talked about it with Braylon. I talked about it on my radio show this morning. They looked awful. Okay,
yeah.
They looked ill-prepared. They got bullied. All right, Minnesota's more physical, and we're not used to that. We're not used to it. The last couple of years, Sean, the identity of this team has been, we're big, we're physical, we're going to shove it down your throat, damn it. And they had it happen to them instead of the other way around.
I just, Shep, as I shared these on Facebook, I just said, start the rebuild, the Lions stink. So I think that covers it all, and we'll move on from there.
Yeah, it's well said. How many people liked it? How many people embraced that one? Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying, Sean. They have no idea. So you got to be careful because people don't know your cynicism. Sometimes they're talking to their buddies at work, and they're going, you know what? Damn it! I told you. I knew what I was talking about. Sean Baligian believes me.
Baligian's right.
You know that, right?
Baligian, good evening, guys. Tom in London. Dodgers used $3.1 billion in pitchers in Game 7. Yes. Lions review preview said, gentlemen, the issue is not the loss. It's that the offensive line can't block any DLs with teeth. They simply won't be able to match up with the Eagles or Rams. Those teams are absolutely better. Hold that thought for just a second. But the bigger picture, the OL is getting more banged up by the day.
Yes.
Go ahead, Shep. You start first.
But let's just say this. I mean, a tough defensive line that allowed Justin Herbert and the Chargers to gain over 500 yards the week before and 34 points. The Lions' offensive line did a pretty good job against Tampa's defensive front four, against Cleveland's front four that was ballyhooed as this really good team. Let's nitpick a little bit, shall we? I love to know why more people aren't bringing this up after a victory. Oh, that's because winning cures everything. You can nitpick all you want, okay? Minnesota is not this be-all, end-all. Maybe that should worry us as well. But this is the NFL, and we don't like it all the time, and I get it. I don't like it either. I thought they played like absolute crap. But there's all kinds of upsets on a regular basis, whether it be Carolina beating the Falcons 30-0, Carolina beating the Packers. People didn't expect stuff like that. New England losing to the Raiders. People didn't expect that stuff, and we didn't expect it yesterday.
Shep, honest to God, I'm going to follow up with what you just said with something very similar because this is exactly what's in my head. I made the crucial mistake yesterday of trying to talk logically to somebody on Twitter last night. It won't happen again. I swear to you,
yes, it will.
I should know better.
Yes, it will.
I felt the need to confess my sins. And this fine gentleman wrote it like War and Peace post. And then at the very end of his dissertation, he put in big, bold, and I don't know how he did it. He's smarter than I am. I mean, that's not saying a lot, but he put it like in big, bold black letters. We have to stop calling this team a Super Bowl contender until they prove it every week. Okay. So I the whole time I'm holding my phone, I'm going, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. You went and did it. I said, in fairness, and I said, I'm not trying to be that guy. By your definition, there are no Super Bowl contenders.
Correct.
That none. There is not one Super Bowl contender. Not one. And I said, do you want to pick the Super Bowl winners? I said, let's go back. I said, the Philadelphia Eagles started 2-2 last year. Okay. They looked awful in a loss to the Falcons. They got their butt spanked against Tampa. Like what? Kansas City's the poster child. Shep, every year they lose to an Aiden O'Connell. They lose to somebody they have no.
So they start this year.
By your definition, there are no Super Bowl contenders, because that's the National Football League today, man. Nobody proves it every week. Like, wake up.
That's why you have all these power rankings on a regular basis, changing team to team. Okay. Is Denver the best team in football? Are the New England Patriots the best team in football? It's funny. Last week I was being told constantly that Green Bay is the best team in football. What happened? Oh, they've lost to Cleveland. Now they've lost to Carolina, and they tied Dallas. There might not be three worse outcomes for any one team in the National Football League at the time they played them. Nobody expected them to lose to Cleveland. Nobody thought they would surrender what they did in Dallas. And there's nobody who thought they would lose at home to Carolina yesterday. So you're 100% right on that.
So Lions review preview. Can I get back to what you said? That was the talk of Lions Nation with people like Shep and I. Okay, so the stuff that we do on Woodward, all right, there are a lot of slappies, all right? Much love to the fan base, but there are a lot of slappies. And I had living, breathing organisms tell me that losing Frank Ragnow wasn't that important. Okay, all right. One of the best centers in the league. He's gone. It's
Kevin Zeitler.
Yeah, it's not that important. Okay, you don't just replace that. Shep, remember we had that very conversation here, and then the interesting thing happened. We didn't talk too much about that interior line the next few weeks. We really didn't. We didn't talk too much about this. How about this? Okay, it was a bad game. There's no doubt about it. It was a 27-24 game, I might add, but that's something. We'll save that. We'll put that on the back burner and everything. And you know what? They got one heck of a coach in KOC and one heck of a defensive coordinator as well that dialed up a damn good game plan, and I give them a tip of the cap. In a game that, quite frankly, they had to have, Shep. And I'm not going to make a mountain out of a molehill over it. I'm just not. I'm sorry. I think this team has built up enough credit line over the past 2.5 years, really starting at the midway point of the 22 season, Shep. I think they've built up enough of a credit line to make me say, you know what? I'm going to say it. I'm going to go all Aaron Rodgers on you. Relax.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm not going to overreact to it. There are some concerning trends over the last 3 games, not 3 weeks because they had the bye week, last 3 games when it comes to their offense. I think that's fair to say. It's fair to be concerned with the injuries. Just about every team is as well. I'm just not going to overreact when it comes to certain losses. And I don't care if it happened at home or not, okay? I've brought up Green Bay a couple of times. Look at New England. Have you seen who they lost to? The Raiders. Okay, they've lost to the Raiders, and I think they lost to the Steelers. There's nothing special there, or is there? And now that they've won 4 in a row, everybody's fired up about it, right? New England. Yeah, I think they've won 4 in a row. I could be wrong there. The Denver Broncos barely beat the Jets 13-11. Sean. I mean, this is what the National Football League is. It's one of the beauties of why we enjoy watching it, because you just don't know all the time. But on the other hand, this team, let's not put our head in the sand either. This team has some serious concerns up front in running the football, at least against Minnesota it did. 2 weeks ago, we didn't have a problem with it. And let's face it, they need their front 4 to do a better job than what they did yesterday. Aleem McNeil, you didn't hear him mentioned. Tyleek Williams really hasn't been mentioned. Aiden Hutchinson had some pressures, but he's got to get home. You can dissect it all you want, and I agree with that. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to jump ship and think this team is barely going to make the playoffs, if at all.
Shep, and I'm sorry. I know you and I were talking about it in a text exchange yesterday with some of our coworkers. Yes, I know everybody wants an edge. Yes, I know everybody wants some help in the defensive backfield. You know what we need? We need some depth on that offensive line, in particular the interior, and that's not easy. That's not like walking in my backyard and plucking 100 off the freshly planted money tree. Okay,
Well,
that's not easy, Shep.
Yeah, your daughter already did that. You're right about that. I said before the season began, I wanted Brandon Scherf. He was without a team. He's a 10-year starter. He's a guy who you could use as a plug and play type of guy. Just 2 weeks ago, I said Evan Neal should be at least explored with the Giants. They're not going anywhere. He can play guard and or tackle for you. And then, of course, Zeitler's name has come up, and rightfully so. I think that would make a lot of sense. It doesn't mean that's the only thing you need or you would try to address, but it is one of the things you probably should address. What would you do? I asked this of Braylon today. Let's say, for sake of argument, they went to Tennessee and said, we'll give you a 5th-round pick for Kevin Zeitler for 9 more games. All right. Please pay a little bit of his salary. That's what happened today with Philadelphia and Miami, right? They're paying some of the James Phillips salary. So you get him. Do you put him at right guard and move Ratledge to center and Glasgow back to left guard? Or do you keep Glasgow at center and put Ratledge at left guard and Zeitler at right guard? Or do you bring Zeitler in and ask him to play left guard and keep the other 2 guys there? I don't know. I don't know what Nick Fraley would do. Braylon's thought was Zeitler at right guard, Glasgow at left guard, Ratledge at center, which I found odd because how challenging would that be to change in midstream? This team doesn't have another bye week. They've got to get their stuff together. I worry about, practicing because you got so many guys hurt. They've got to do something though, Sean. I think if Brad Holmes doesn't, you and I both believe in him, but if he doesn't do something by the deadline, I think that's a little derelict of duty.
I agree. And you know what? There's some comment. What are your guys' expectations of the trade deadline? I feel like Brad is the only GM that gets excuses to not do anything, not calling for his job or anything like that. I feel like you have to clarify that every time you slightly criticize Brad. Alan, don't worry about that with guys like us. I feel the same way. I'm not going to feel guilty for wanting more. I'm not. 100%. I'm sorry. I'm not going to feel guilty for wanting more. Both things can be true, and both things are true. I think the world of Brad Holmes. I really do. No exaggeration. Yeah. But when somebody says, what do you think Brad Holmes can do? I think, Shep, all we can do is judge him by his track record. And his track record suggests there's not going to be anything major. That doesn't mean that they can't bring in a fit, right? That, Correct. But to the people out there, Trey Hendrickson, and there were reports that he called and there was a conversation about Trey. That doesn't mean that it can't be a fit. I don't think the average fan's going to go nuts over Zeitler coming back.
Would you give up a 1st-round pick for him? Knowing that you won't.
Yes, I would. I would. Yes, I would. Shep, you know why? If we're going to pat Brad on the back and say, wow, look what he's done with this core, and elongated these guys with new contracts, then I will follow that up with, what does the 30th pick mean to me then, or 28th pick, or God forbid last pick in the 1st round? It doesn't mean anything to me. I think that goes completely against what he does. Yeah. And who am I to argue with him? And I mean that in all sincerity. But Shep, for me, yes, I just don't think there's that much value in that pick when you already have a core that's going to be here for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I would remind anybody that you're going to need a center, and maybe that's Ratledge, which means you need a guard, and maybe that's Miles Frazier, but he doesn't play, right? So you're going to need at least one guard. You need a tackle. You need a linebacker next year. And there's no question about any of those. Okay. Everybody knows that. Not to mention the fact that people are looking at quarterbacks, right? You want to get a quarterback to back up Jared Goff. So I think those are all important. I probably wouldn't surrender a 1st-round pick for a rental. The difference with Brad Holmes in LA with the Rams was when he was part of that, Les Snead in that group, they got guys on multiple years.
Yep.
Wasn't always 1-year deals. So I would feel a little differently if this were last year and Trey Hendrickson. I would feel a little hesitant this year. It's like the Jalen Phillips thing, giving up a 3rd-round pick. Would you do that? That's borderline for me, but I might. Here's a guy who has not started many games over the last 2 years. This year he's been relatively healthy, and he's a guy who's not going to, he won't be with you next year unless You happen to sign him to extension. It's an interesting scenario. I mean, I don't know how, they've got the fourth most cap space in the NFL. So maybe that helps them and maybe they're willing to do that. You bring up a really good point. I never quite looked at it that way. But I do know, I mean, you're going to need a linebacker next year, Sean, because Anzalone's probably not going to be here. You're going to need a center because Glass now is not going to be here. You definitely need depth at tackle. And I know people love Dan Skipper, but enough is enough. And unless you think, Giovanni Manu is the guy. And you're going to need a backup quarterback at some point. I'm not saying it's a first round pick, but at some point. So some of these picks, considering how much you've given up already, Tesla, how much you've surrendered there, I think you have to take a look at those and be careful with that.
It's interesting, Shep, too. I mean, this is the price of doing business. And as you pointed out, I mean, this is a guy that is shown if there's somebody he really likes, the cost to move up in the second round isn't as much. The cost to move up in the third round isn't as much. And, that's the one thing that you can say about his scouting is they've kind of pinpointed and nailed quite a few guys, mind you, that I think, especially our fan base at the time, whether they want to admit it or not, was, what is this guy doing? What the heck is this? And I kind of like his track record there. It's not 100%. I'm not going full slappy on you, but he's definitely did his fair share. Alex,
my problem, Sean, is that I'm surprised at this one with one player. I thought Isaac Tesla would be more involved in the offense by now. Okay. And it can concern us in a couple of different ways. One, is he not grasping it? Mm-hmm. Two, do they not have confidence in him? I find that latter would be hard to believe. But if you're going to spend that much capital to move up and get a guy in the third round like that, how is he not more involved in your offense? It's got to be more than just red zone opportunities, and they didn't even look his way in the red zone yesterday. He's more of a weapon with his size and his hands. I'm surprised they haven't utilized him more. They came out, John Morton was all apologetic for Jamison Williams. Good for him, but what about Tesla?
Yeah.
Not that you have to I don't think that any coach has to come out and say, I've failed you, but it would be nice to know why he's not worked into the offense a little more.
Good point. Alex, my buddy Alex said, as the saying goes, any given Sunday, Lions review preview. Absolutely. 100%. Unfortunately, you can't get those guys in a trade. Are you talking about the offensive lineman, just to clarify?
I think so.
If you can do that. Jason, up in lovely Escanaba. Hello. Alan said, I don't think the Bengals will get a first for him, given the fact that he's a rental. I don't think they will either.
That's what that's the report is by Adam Schefter, I believe, that's what they're sticking to and that's what they want. I think it's ridiculous. You should, if you can wait it out and maybe you can get something to look. How high would you go is what a lot of people would like to know. Again, you're only going to have them for 9 games. Keep that in mind. We think 9 games. All right. We hope 9 games, regular season games. So the question would be, how much would you have to pay for it? And what kind of draft pick would you have to surrender?
So Lions review preview said, yes, the O-line. I think you can get some of those guys that Shep mentioned. I think Zeitler for sure. You call the Tennessee Titans a 35-year-old who doesn't have a lot left. And you say, we'll give you a pick. Why would Tennessee hold on to him?
It wouldn't make any sense, but why would they do a lot of the things that they do?
There's legitimacy to that.
It's a poorly run organization, right? I mean, I think there's a lot of different offensive linemen out there who might be available. I don't know how hard, Sean, that transition would be. Like, we always see quarterbacks come in and absorb the playbook almost right away. Wide receivers, Jaden Waddle goes someplace this year. Maybe he can absorb it right away. How difficult is that for linemen? Not saying it from an intellectual standpoint, but all the idiosyncrasies and the different things that they have to get used to with their new team. Zeitler would make a ton of sense because I would think the transition would be as smooth as possible.
Yeah. And listen, I think the question that you brought up, eventually the thought is that Tate will eventually be the center. Okay. Do they want to speed up that process now? I don't know the answer to that. I think that's a great question you and Braylon brought up.
Yeah. Do you want a rookie who spent the first half of the year playing right guard to suddenly be in charge of making the calls at the offensive line? That scares the hell out of me.
Yeah. David said, me too with Tesla. He also said Ohio State, Texas A&M, and Indiana a top 3. That doesn't surprise me at all. A&M's been the one, David, I know we've been talking about it for weeks, kind of flying under the radar.
Yep.
For whatever reason, the Aggies are just, because you know what it is, Shep? I think everybody keeps expecting them to Aggie. Like somehow, some way they're going to blow it, and they're just kind of flying under the radar still. So
You like Alabama?
I mixed. How's that? I've seen them a couple times, and I thought they looked really good against Vandy, which I know somebody would say, well, that's Vandy. Well, Vandy's pretty good. I'll stand by that. And then we saw what we saw, obviously, against Georgia. I don't know. I don't have a strong feeling about them. I don't.
They romped Tennessee. I think the big red flag for them, obviously, is first week of the season.
Yep.
You lose to Florida State like that. It's like,
yep.
But I really like them. I think they're really good. Really good. So they're just, I don't know. I don't think they're flying under the radar. I don't think Alabama.
No. Yeah.
Especially when you're at number 4. But that's a scary team. I wouldn't want to run into them in the college football playoff.
All About Catering LLC, full service caterer, graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, anything you need catering for from 25 to 4,000 people. All About Catering can and will take care of you. Listen, Rick also does Thanksgiving dinners. No, true story. He does. He does Thanksgiving dinners.
That's
then
cool.
he comes over my house for Thanksgiving. Like, that is not a joke. Like, legitimately.
What does he bring?
Nothing. I refuse to do that. Shep, you know me, man. You've been over my place. People say, what can I bring? You will bring nothing but your appetite, sir. Customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. So don't sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com today to see their menus and all their 5-star reviews. Give them a call, 586-731-1398 to get your event started. Does Florida State keep Norvell? I don't think so.
No. I'm surprised they haven't gotten rid of him already.
I don't think so.
The way things are going, Sean, with all these different coaches being let go, I can't believe any school that has an idea if they're going to let their guy go would hold on to him right now.
No.
Doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
Including your school.
Oh,
I can't figure it out, okay? Because not that you're going to be able to get whoever, okay? I don't care if you say Jimbo Fisher, James Franklin, whomever, right? Not that, but you want to be able to have people line things up. You don't start the process by going, okay, I've let Sean Baligian go. Sorry. Now I'm going to start.
The first time.
Now I'm going to start doing my interviews. You can start mapping out a plan and rounding up the necessary money now is what a school like Michigan State, if they're going to move on. All I'm saying is if they're going to do that.
I hope that Jay Batt's doing that as we speak. I mean that in all sincerity.
I would have thought so, wouldn't you?
I
think so. Do that, don't they?
I think so.
Yeah.
Really? I think so. I don't know. I really.
You've dealt with enough ADs from about 15 to 20 years ago. I remember talking to an athletic director about this, and they said literally they took their drawer and they went like this. Better have a name right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm not talking about hockey coaches because no AD knows hockey.
Right.
I'm talking about football coaches and basketball coaches. They better have a list and they better update that on a yearly basis of guys or gals that they would like to have in charge of their program. That's what good ones do anyway.
Yeah, we'll see.
So Tarek Skubel's a finalist for the Cy Young Award.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a surprise. He's going to win it, right? He's going to win it over your guy, Hunter Brown from Wayne State.
Yes.
Top 5 in a lot of big categories, which is great. Garrett Crochet, who actually led the league in innings pitched and strikeouts. And ERA, I believe. I could be wrong there, but I think so. So that's not a surprise that Tarek Skubel's in the final 3 and that, am I boring you? And
no, sorry. Sorry. Not at all.
in the final 3, and he's going to win it. Are you surprised that AJ Hinch isn't?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Yes, I am. Big time.
How much do you think mattered that they blew it?
Yeah, probably more than I think we care to admit. Honestly,
Yeah,
probably
I think so. I think so
more
too.
than we care to admit.
Yeah. So if you think about it, I mean, Stephen Vogt, who won it a year ago for Cleveland,
yep,
is in it again. Okay, John Schneider is in it and rightfully so. What he did with,
the small market, small budget Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, I get it. And then Dan Wilson in Seattle.
Yeah.
Those are the three finals. Okay. But, we were part of that group chat, and I get the angst. I get the frustration. I get how people are pissed off. I totally understand that. Why are we blaming teams when they can spend the money?
I don't.
If our team doesn't spend the money, we're pissed. Other teams spend the money. We're jealous, but we're pissed. And we're going to take it away from them. If you can spend the money, you spend the money, man.
Yep.
What difference does it make?
If nobody's stopping me, why would I do it? And that goes back to the conversation we had last week. It's like the only way it was going to work in the NHL is if every owner, and from my understanding, there were a couple of guys that were kind of pushing back against it in Snyder in Philadelphia and Mr. Ilitch in Detroit. Every owner had to be on the same page. We cannot continue to operate like that. And that's what's going to be very interesting with me with Major League Baseball. If I'm the Dodgers, if I'm the Mets, if I'm the Yankees.
I'm the Phillies. I'm the Blue Jays.
No, I mean, what? No.
Padres.
Yeah. I've got a huge competitive advantage. It doesn't guarantee you anything, but it is a huge competitive advantage. So at that point in time, that's why I'm going to be really intrigued for all the calls of doomsday, Shep, and I'm sure you hear them more than I do, okay? There are already people saying you better prepare yourself. There isn't going to be baseball in 2027, all that stuff, okay? Oh, okay, fine. Are the owners going to follow through? Are the owners going to be the ones that say, we have to finally police ourselves? Something has to be done about this. I don't know the answer to that.
They can't. I don't think they can. Yep. They can't help themselves.
Yep.
Steve, you think Steve Cohen's going to walk into that meeting? They're in a conference room. Everyone's got Danishes and coffee. And he's going to sit around and he's going, you know what? Damn it. You guys are 100% right. It's been unfair. I want to help Cincinnati a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because, you guys can't spend the money I can, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not signing another Juan Soto. Tarek Skubal's tantalizing. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to let Detroit hold on to him because I think it's best for baseball. Bullshit. They're not going to do that, nor should they do that. Those people are just as competitive as the players on the field oftentimes, the good ones are, about trying to win. So they're going to do everything they possibly can. So I don't blame them one damn bit. But I get a little tired of people saying, oh, they just the best team money can buy. How many times have you heard somebody say that about college football in Ohio State? Yeah. So I hate to tell you this, but if your team could do it, you would want their team to do it. Those are the same people who are going, you know what the Tigers need to do? They need to go out and sign Bo Bichette and Alex Bregman. Go get them and then sign Ranger Suarez. Make sure you re-sign Tarek Skubal. You want to spend all this money too, but 5 minutes ago, you're sitting there complaining about how much other teams spent to win a championship. Okay, that makes sense.
It's amazing to me. It really is. Hey, when it comes time to get yourself a house, whether you're buying or selling, you need to contact the right agent. Who do we recommend? Well, this lady right here. Her name, Lindsay Broadwell. Your house is probably the biggest investment you'll ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsay grew up in the area. She's expanded her team all over the area. She's an expert in all facets of the business. So when it's time to move, make sure you contact our friend Lindsay and her team, and they'll make sure you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. You're buying, you're selling, even first-time buyer, doesn't matter. Make sure you contact Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com. She'll help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor, Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. Shep, we're getting very close to the time, unofficially for many hockey people, and there are no guarantees here either. But Thanksgiving, December 1st, in that area is a good gauge of where your team is at and where your team might be going. Now, that is not a hard and fast rule. I can tell you definitively as a Habs fan, that is not a hard and fast rule. I mean, what they were and what they became last year were two different things. But I'm getting really close to that point, Shep, where I'm done kind of wondering aloud how, are the Red Wings legit? Do I think they're first overall legit? I don't think they're first overall legit. Do I think that this is an exciting young team and one that's worth our time and attention? Absolutely, I do.
Yeah, I just wish, more people besides you could talk intelligently about hockey because what do
No.
people, no, seriously, what do people do? Oh, well, Dylan Larkin's got 18 points. That's good news. And Alex DeBrinket's on a roll. He scored in 4 straight games and he's got four goals, and that's fantastic. And are they really looking at some of the other guys who are made a difference on this team and how see the progress that Santa Pelicum has made so far with this team and how they've gotten some pretty good goaltending recently and how they're going to get Patrick Kane back and how yesterday, even though they needed a shootout to get the job done, that it was only 18 shots on net on Cam Talbot, and a lot of shots, as you see, are closer to the perimeter than they are in front instead of what used to be. Those are really positive signs. They're a fun team to watch. I don't know how good they're going to be. I can't judge a team. How many games have they played? 14, 15?
I think they're 14 in, right? They're 14 in the Habs are at 13, I think.
14
Yeah.
in. We hear in baseball, give me 60 games. We never apply that to any other sport for some reason. Football, we start judging right away. Basketball and hockey, both with 82 game schedules. Do you use a 40 game barometer? Probably not. But to your point, December 1st would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 games. I think that's a fair critique.
Yeah. 13 games for them, 12 games for the Habs. And it's listen, and I think even in a certain regard, the Habs are surprising people. I know they were a playoff team last year, but to get off the start that they did, and it's exciting because, again, I'll remind this, I don't care what anybody says, this is a tough division hockey. Look at the Eastern Conference overall right now. It's frightening. I mean, all these teams are at 500 or above. It's insane right now. I mean, that's what's happening in the Eastern Conference right now. I like what Andrew said. I'm all in favor of buying a championship. I don't give pardon me if I don't say that word. I'll strut around with the Ted DiBiase money belt. I always say this about the Lions. Win one. I don't care. I'm done. I'm done. Give me
when you and I were covering the Red Wings and they were winning with all those big names. Did we care how much money they spent? You know what we heard? We heard everybody outside Detroit and New York, because the Rangers and Glenn Sather, he just didn't know how to spend it. Spent a lot of money too.
Yep.
We heard from everybody else. Well, yeah, because you guys bring in all these free agents and you buy your championship. And
yep,
like outside of the team or the people who follow the team, does it matter to you how you get the championship or that they're homegrown? Do you think any Dodger fan at that parade today went, I'm sorry, I just can't do it? What's wrong, Sean? Well, Freddie Freeman was a free agent. Mookie Betts wasn't ours. We had to trade for him. Shohei Ohtani started with the Angels. Max Muncy was in Oakland A. I just can't do it. I like Tyler Glass now, but I see him as a Tampa Bay Ray. Are you kidding me? Nobody gives a rat's tail about any of that stuff. You know what they care about? You just won us another championship. Thank you, as we inch closer to the Yankees' all-time record. They don't care if they were homegrown. My God, man.
It's so perfect. It reminds me, remember when the Devils beat the Wings back in 95 and everybody talked about, oh my gosh, they're so boring. And I remember I said, man, do you know how depressing it would be to sit there at the parade and go, I wish I could be excited about this champion, but we were so fucking boring, man. I guess I'm just never gonna enjoy it, right? Shep, I grew up in an era, I thought that the key was winning. That's what nope, you got to win with pizzazz. Damn it.
Didn't you know next to all that in the hockey standards, it's wins, losses, it's ties, it's points, and it's style points.
Yes.
You didn't know that.
Yes.
I'm surprised you didn't look at that. You get stuck on the wrong column, Sean.
Can I bring some? Andrew brought up something that clicked with Jack and I. I don't know if you watch it. Shep, did you watch any of the post-game stuff on Saturday night?
Yeah.
Shohei did an interview, and at the end of the interview, he spoke better English than I did.
Yeah.
He literally, thank you very much. And it was like, okay, it reminded me. Do you remember Pavel Datsyuk?
Yeah. I knew it. I knew you were going there. Yep.
Remember his scared face when he'd act like he was so overwhelmed? Like, oh, it's such a knock it off. I was just speaking perfect English with you 5 minutes ago. Knock it off.
Right. You get a lot of Hispanic players like that the same way.
Yeah, it's amazing how that.
I know.
I heard there was a pretty good slugger that was like that, Shep. Is that true? There's a pretty good slugger in town that that conveniently didn't know English. Is that a fair statement?
Triple Crown winner. His name.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Not how I carried on conversations with him. I don't know if you know this. I'm bilingual.
All right. You want to take charge of your financial future, you need to look at these guys right here, the Wealth Advantage Group. They're located in historic downtown Northville and owned by those two handsome fellas right there, two brothers with well over 20 years of industry experience. They understand your financial goals are as unique as you are, and that's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help navigate the complexities of financial planning. Now, whether you're saving for retirement, you're getting ready to sell a company, you're already in retirement, they understand that no two people are on the same path. They will help navigate that path and do what's best for you and your family. They have clients in all stages of life, clients in over 20 different states. The investment world is a complex one. You need the experts. Reach out to my buddies, the Wealth Advantage Group, at 248-773-8574. Visit their website at www.thewealthadv.com. Shep, you and I are very similar in the regard that the hyperbole today in sports is at an all-time high. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. This was the greatest play I've ever saw. This was the greatest throw I've ever seen, all that stuff. This World Series, and I was telling Jack this the other night as we were watching it. And yes, Shep, on a hockey night in Canada, I was glued to watching the World Series. I say that with no shame. I mean, that was can't miss television.
Yeah. You were a part of 28 million people who watched it on Game 7,
dude,
compared to the 8 million who watched the NBA Finals on Game 7. But the NBA owns things. I mean,
yes.
I wish the NBA would understand that. They've got to do some things differently. The NFL, remember, on Christmas Day, remember LeBron and the NBA owned Christmas Day? What did the NFL do to the NBA? Major League Baseball. They don't draw anybody. It's too slow of a game. Oh, okay.
Okay, cool.
Whatever. Go ahead. Sorry.
I said to my son, I said, pound for pound, this might be the best World Series I've ever seen. And the only one that I could think of was that had a little bit of everything was 91. Jack Morris in
Right. That's
would you agree? I don't think that's an overstatement, right?
No, I think that's really good. I mean, Yankees, trying to think. Yankees Diamondbacks?
Yeah, maybe 01. That was Luis Gonzalez, right? The little flare? Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, New York wins, what is it, 4 in a row?
That was a damn good series. Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was like no joke. That was an all-in intense watch. The last couple innings, you couldn't turn it off. And everything that Roberts did worked. Everything that he did, it was amazing. You know, putting the bum in center field.
When Paez was in center field and made that running catch, I was like, "Come on, man!"
Yeah, it was
unbelievable. You know, I look, two very good teams, and as I've said ad nauseum, both teams at about 30 WAR, while Detroit scores at 19. Shows you how far away they can be. Okay. Yep. Those teams played really good baseball, Sean. Good fundamental baseball for the most part. You notice neither one of those teams struck out a lot. I'm talking about a lot. Sure, Ohtani had the 10 punch outs, right? Or was that against Milwaukee? I'm trying to remember. Ohtani had 6 strikeouts, I think, in the World Series game. The Milwaukee game was 10 strikeouts. But those teams put the bat on the ball. Now, it didn't help Alejandro Kirk in the double play, and it didn't help Varsho either. But because he grounded to second, and of course the play at home plate, which was fantastic. But overall, those teams find a way to connect and put pressure on the defense.
Yep, no doubt. All right, Shep, anything else before we get out of here?
No, have a great week, buddy.
I'm going to go hate watch the Cowboys. It's one of my favorite pastimes. I openly admit it, okay? I need Jerry Jones' face. I need your back. I need all of it. Give it. I want it all, okay?
I guess somebody said that they're trying to get Max Crosby from the Raiders. Isn't that ironic?
Of course they are. Of course they
are.
What a mess. Oh, my gosh. Todd, thank you, Shep.
Thanks,
always
Todd.
a pleasure. Make sure you check out Shep in the morning. Check him out on Woodward as well with Braylon Edwards. We'll see you.
Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Still Alive by Anti-Ghost. graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.